"Open the door." Those were the last words heard before tragedy struck. On the morning of June 11, 2025, a 32-year-old woman lost her life after exposing her boyfriend's dark secret on social media. At 11:47 a.m., police received a frantic 911 call. On the line was a young boy, crying uncontrollably, begging for help. He said his mother had just been shot. When officers rushed to the home on State Road 715, they were met with a scene straight out of a nightmare. On the bed lay the woman's body, riddled with 12 gunshot wounds. Her children stood around her, screaming, forced to watch the unthinkable, their mother's final moments. As detectives began piecing things together, the truth shook the community. The killer wasn't a random attacker. It was the man she trusted most, her own boyfriend. His motive? She had revealed his secret online. But what investigators uncovered after that made the case even more disturbing. In his own words, he admitted, "You've shown me you don't care about me. I pray God forgives me and takes me to heaven. I can't handle this world anymore. I'm losing sleep. My mind is breaking apart." This was more than jealousy or anger. It was obsession mixed with rage, and it ended in murder. Today, we look at the life and tragic death of Shantae Butts. Born in West Palm Beach, Florida in the early 1990s, Shantae Letitia Butts, known to her loved ones as Shay, grew up in South Florida. Her early years were anything but stable. Shantae spoke openly about her childhood and the difference between being fostered and being adopted. As she explained, foster care often meant uncertainty, you could be moved at any moment. Adoption, though, meant permanence, belonging to a family for life. Shantae had been adopted, and that shaped the way she viewed love and family. For her, family wasn't negotiable. It was everything. She wanted her children to have what she had longed for as a child: stability, protection, and unconditional love. As an adult, her world revolved around her kids. Her social media painted the picture of a dedicated mother cheering at school games, showing up at events, and making time for family outings, no matter how busy life got. Her oldest son, in particular, was always by her side, often stepping up with a sense of responsibility beyond his years. But how did she manage all of it? The answer was sheer hard work. Shantae was relentless. She worked as a home health aide, a demanding job that required endless patience and compassion. She also launched her own cleaning business, Polished by Shay, earning a reputation for reliability and professionalism. On top of that, she ran a decor business, creating custom floral designs, liquor bottle arrangements, and even money bouquets. And she wasn't stopping there. Shantae was also building her presence online as an aspiring content creator. In her own words, she once joked, "I feel like I don't get paid enough to babysit. I don't care if they're my own kids, pay me." A glimpse of her humor, even while carrying the weight of so much responsibility. "I miss work to take care of the kids, pay me. I miss an event to be with my kids, pay me." Period. That was Shantae's voice on social media. Honest, unfiltered, relatable. She used her platforms to showcase her humor, her struggles, and her survival story. Shantae often called herself a comedian, turning stress into skits and pain into punchlines. One moment she was joking about relationships. "When y'all come up to me talking about my man cheating, do you think I care? He cheat, I cheat, we cheat together." Another time, she was calling out deadbeat fathers in her viral Deadbeat Daddy series. Her commentary was raw, sharp, and brutally honest about what many women were experiencing but afraid to say out loud. She spoke openly about women settling in relationships. In her words, "Some of us stay because we're happy someone loves us. But the truth is, we could love ourselves, handle the house, and do what we need to do without housing someone who isn't really contributing." For Shantae, social media wasn't just entertainment. It was therapy, a space where she processed her chaos while empowering others who saw themselves in her story. But beneath the jokes and viral skits, one thing was always clear: her children came first. Every hustle, every sleepless night, every side business, every bold post online was for them. She wanted them to have what she didn't: security and a future. Then came the man who would change her life's trajectory. 46-year-old Little Mac Williams, her ex-boyfriend and the father of her youngest children. At first, he was part of her world. But over time, the relationship brought more disappointment than joy. Shantae realized she couldn't keep sacrificing her peace. She made the decision to leave little Mac behind and move on with her life. She even opened her heart again, hoping for a fresh start with someone new. But little Mac wasn't ready to let go. His refusal to accept the end of their relationship would soon twist into something darker, something no one expected. What Shantae didn't know was that little Mac had a long and violent past, a history of terrorizing women. And the most chilling part? Shantae saw it coming. She knew the danger she was in. She begged for help. She warned the authorities again and again. But nothing stopped him. His record stretched back years. In 2014, police arrested him after an ex-girlfriend accused him of sexual battery. Officers found her covered in bruises, her forehead swollen with a massive hematoma. He was charged with felony battery, domestic battery by strangulation, and false imprisonment. Yet he served only 36 days in jail. In 2018, another woman reported that Williams kept showing up at her home, harassing her, even tampering with her security cameras. He was arrested but convicted only of trespassing. His punishment? 59 days in jail. By 2023, his violence escalated. He struck a woman in the head with an object, sending her to the hospital. Once again, he was arrested. This time, he served just 2 days behind bars. It was a pattern: violence, arrest, release over and over again. By 2024, Shantae had become his next target. In July 2024, she reported that Williams forced his way into her home, put her in a chokehold, and kicked her repeatedly until she nearly lost consciousness. When she tried to call 911, he ripped the phone from her hands and fled. Deputies arrested him and charged him with multiple felonies, including domestic battery by strangulation and witness tampering. He pled guilty. His sentence? 157 days in jail and a no-contact order. But a piece of paper didn't stop him. By October 2024, Shantae was calling police again. Williams was stalking her, blowing up her phone, and banging on her door. He was arrested again for violating the order. In November 2024, it escalated further. He broke into her house, assaulted her, and stole her phone. Prosecutors reduced the charge to a misdemeanor. His punishment? 66 days in jail. Despite the arrests, despite the convictions, Williams was always released. Always free to come back. Always violent. And it was only a matter of time before his threats turned deadly. While Shantae used her humor and skits online to cope with her reality, her Deadbeat Daddy series gaining laughs and support from her followers, Williams wasn't laughing. To her audience, it was comedy. To him, it was personal. To Shantae, her online posts were self-expression. To little Mac, they were humiliation. He believed she was putting his business out for the world to see, and in his mind, that was unforgivable. The resentment grew, boiling toward violence. By July 1st, 2025, things reached a breaking point. Williams showed up at Shantae's workplace, causing a scene. She pleaded with him, "Please leave. I'm not okay with this. Please leave my job." But the nightmare was far from over. On July 5th, 2025, deputies were called back to Shantae's home in Belle, Glade, Florida. She told them Williams had been outside, banging on her windows, screaming her name, and taunting her about a missing firearm. He wouldn't leave. Shantae was clear. She believed he was going to kill her. That day, she took action. She filed a restraining order against him for stalking and harassment. But the same night, terror returned. Checking her doorbell camera, Shantae saw him pacing outside her home, tampering with the device. He wasn't simply harassing her anymore, he was hunting her. Terrified, she fled to a hotel in nearby Clewiston, hoping for just one night of safety. But even there, fear followed. She shared her ordeal online, saying the system wasn't protecting her. And she was right, because only days later, her worst fear became reality. On July 11th, 2025, at 11:47 p.m., Shantae's oldest son frantically dialed 911. His voice shook as he told the dispatcher that his mother's ex-boyfriend had broken into their home through a window. The intruder's chilling words echoed in the background. "Where's your mother?" Moments later came silence. Then the boy's panicked cry. His mother had been shot. Deputies rushed to the home on State Road 715 in Belle, Glade. What they found inside was chaos. Children were screaming. Shantae lay unresponsive on her bed, riddled with 12 gunshot wounds. At 11:58 p.m., she was pronounced dead. Her boyfriend, also in the house, had been shot in the chest but survived. The most chilling detail? All 6 of Shantae's children were inside when the gunfire erupted. Some hid, some screamed. Her oldest tried desperately to shield his younger siblings, even as he watched the unthinkable. His mother gasping for air as little Max strangled her, then pulled the trigger. That night is etched into those children's memories forever. Outside, the scene was eerily quiet. No chase, no standoff, no resistance. Deputies found little Mac lying in the street, hands behind his back, waiting to be arrested. The same man who had tormented Shantae for years surrendered without a fight, a coward after taking her life. When questioned, Williams denied everything. He claimed he didn't know who else was inside the house. He swore he never fired the gun and pretended he had no idea where it was, despite Shantae having recently reported he stole her firearm. But investigators weren't fooled. Scratches covered his face and body, signs of a violent struggle. Inside, they uncovered clear evidence of a fight. Most damning of all, they had the testimony of Shantae's children, eyewitnesses who saw him murder their mother. As detectives pieced together the evidence, one truth became undeniable. This tragedy wasn't unpredictable. It was preventable. Every step had been foreseen. Every warning had been documented. And still, the system failed to stop him. Shantae had said it plainly. He was going to kill her. She told deputies. She told the courts. She told her family. Days before her death, she even fled her home, knowing he was circling her like a predator. Yet nothing changed. When the news spread through Belle, Glade, heartbreak followed. Neighbors described her as a hard-working single mother, a woman who gave everything to her children. Now, those children are left without her. Her oldest son, the boy who made that frantic 911 call, will forever carry the weight of witnessing his mother's final moments, and of describing the man who ended her life. It was both a relief and an outrage. Relief that little Mac Williams was finally off the streets. Outrage that it took Shantae's death for it to happen. This wasn't just the story of one man's violence. It was the story of a system that ignored warning after warning until it ended in murder. Court records revealed the truth. Despite being convicted of choking Shantae in July 2024, the longest jail time he ever served was 157 days. Each case that followed resulted in less time, softer charges, and quick release. Williams had a clear history: strangulation, stalking, break-ins, threats against women's lives. Yet time and again, prosecutors reduced charges, judges handed out slaps on the wrist, and jail sentences lasted days instead of years. Until July 11, 2025, when those failures collided into tragedy. Now, Williams sits in the Palm Beach County Jail, facing charges of first-degree murder with a firearm, attempted murder, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Prosecutors have announced they will pursue the maximum penalty, citing his repeat offender status and the brutality of the crime. That means he could face life without parole or even the death penalty. But for the community, one question lingers. Why did it take Shantae's death for the system to take him seriously? A memorial service in Palm Beach County brought family, friends, neighbors, and even strangers who had followed her story online. In the front row sat her children, holding onto each other, their faces etched with grief. Her oldest son, the boy who called 911, stood tall but hollow, his childhood stolen in a single night. Eulogies painted a picture of who Shantae truly was. A mother, a hustler, a creator, a woman who made magic out of struggle and gave everything she had to her kids. Her best friend said she could make something out of nothing, a testament to her resilience. Her family demanded accountability not just for Williams, but for the prosecutors and judges who let him slip through the cracks again and again. For Belle Glade, this wasn't just another crime. It was a brutal reminder of how domestic violence cases so often end not with intervention, but with tragedy. Soon, local activists began organizing vigils. They demanded stronger enforcement of restraining orders, tougher sentences for repeat offenders, and more resources for women trying to escape abuse. As one advocate explained, if law enforcement is called, something major has already happened, and the risk is highest when someone is trying to leave an abusive situation. That's when lives are most in danger. News outlets across the country picked up Shantae's story. The headlines all asked the same question. How could this happen when she did everything survivors are told to do? She left. She filed reports. She pressed charges. She installed cameras. She documented every incident. And still, it wasn't enough. Advocates point out that restraining orders are often treated like suggestions, not protections. Judges reduce felonies to misdemeanors. Women are told to be strong, yet the system fails to give that strength the protection it deserves. Experts warn that Shantae's case is not rare. In fact, strangulation, something Little Mac had already done to her, is one of the strongest predictors of homicide in domestic violence cases. Yet time after time, courts minimized it. It's time to demand change. Domestic violence is not a minor offense. Strangulation should not mean weeks in jail. Restraining orders should not be empty promises. The truth is, Shantae deserved safety. She deserved to see her children grow up. Instead, she became another statistic. But her story is more than tragedy. It is also one of resilience. A woman who fought until the very end. A community now determined to turn her pain into change. Rest in power, Shantae. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.